aha moment. Today I began the companion book to consciousness. 700, 800, 900 pages, and somehow stumbled upon psychology. And partly explaining my difficulty with mental health services, and especially where I live now in Seattle, Washington, with this social worker, counselor, business organization that provides psychological services. My mom always called me an old soul. Never hurt anybody, never hit my mom, never bothered anyone. My sister used to pick on me, gave me stitches, slamming a door in my face, breaking my foot, chasing me around the house with her frantic energy. And my obnoxious behavior, being little and growing up and having a hard time like everyone else, I suppose. So I never started 8 years ago learning about neuroscience, trying to defeat anyone, trying to pick a better option. And now I fear and now I worry what I've discovered and what I've learned could almost explain some people's conspiracy theories. And how the suffering and the poverty and what everyone's fighting against socially, with their psychology especially now, are almost self-defeating. Thinking, doing, and behaving has been the strategy. Contain the thinking and the doing, and control the behavior. Everyone will get along, there'll be less police, and we won't need to spend so much on military, and then eventually we'll all be okay. Completely disregarding neuroscience. Completely ignoring years and years and hours and painstaking months doctors have spent writing books I've read. I'm almost in disbelief. How hard fought and how difficult the learning has been to get to now. And how oblivious I was the whole time to psychology being the government for thinking and thought and doing. The people in charge. I never really, tried to figure out, well, what are psychologists really doing? I knew that there was behavior involved. That was always the easy and obvious observation. But to heal people with solving their behavior and changing their thinking and their doing has nothing to do with freedom. and some of the spirituality traditions I've studied along the way, and probably what kept me in the dark. The most obvious in your face answer in this case was probably too much to realize how destructive, rude, nasty, and mean professionals are, still treating the science of psychology as almost the Word of God and the Bible, all because they do the scientific method. They write down notes about what people are doing in their office and what people are doing in their home here in this residence. They make adjustments to their thinking. They make them do stuff more correctly, and they have mental health. The hard part has to do with the real government, the United States of America. They say freedom, they say, law and order, reason and compassion for the most part. And they allow these people to interfere with the freedom. Almost like giving and quickly taking. Very similar. The government gives the freedom, the psychologist takes some of it away. And people don't raise their hands or argue, kind of like the quarantine and the lockdown now with the coronavirus. People accept the behavior restrictions. They enjoy the control of their thinking and thought and their doing for the emotional benefits, the safety. This system I'm talking about doesn't give people information about what's going on. What the brain's doing, what the body's doing, what they need, what behavior even the heck is anymore, or has been in the past. But they are quick and they are lightning fast to correct. Kind of like two women blocking a door. Good gosh. Had I known, I would have behaviorally calmed, I would have controlled my thinking and my doing, and I would have got on a knee and begged to go home. There should be alarms going off everywhere. A simple brain, a simple body, and maybe a mind. Ignored for behavior. Not telling folks and people about stimulus and reward and what's going on with behavior. Keeping all of that information for themselves to control the behavior, giving the stimulus, providing the reward to get the thinking better, to get the doing correct. Thinking, thought, and doing. There's cognitive neuroscience for thought and thinking. For people not to get too imaginative and believe they're a simulation video game. Their thinking, their thought comes from their neurons, and their neurons connect to others with synapses, and they have consciousness. it almost seems as if the psychologists are treating consciousness as a stimulus, limiting the consciousness to what they provide and what instructions they give for the person to do and think and thought, have their thought, and then how they behave. Holy gosh. A dog, a cat can be trained well behaviorally. A monkey. And having that as the foundation of a human psychology makes me feel like an animal. And not the kind of animal who can rip apart a piece of meat. An animal who can only go in a certain direction at a certain time to a certain place decided by the person giving the directions and the instructions and the commands. I get why people bang their walls now. Their bodies want out. Their brains want to go away. There's no freedom. There's no free thinking, free thought. There's a government with psychologists, and there's humans who follow the psychologist rules, and then there's psychologists who are supported by the government with funding and grants and all kinds of other conspiracy excitement. Simulation, quite possibly, anything is possible. When people can't walk around and do what they want and find out how not to cause problems for other people in the world, they're a little dog on a leash or a cat in a home. Having cats and the dogs and animals in the world, that's fun and exciting. They're loving and they're caring, but gosh, they live a pretty dang boring life. They don't get to pick fresh fruit in the fields. They don't get to go look at tulips and pick some for their home. They don't get to choose between neuroscience and psychiatry. They don't get to choose between medicine and engineering. They do what their owner says, or they go hungry, or they go away to the pound, or some people probably kill them. I don't know how anybody sleeps at night. Thinking, thought, doing, and behavior psychologist. And everybody's upset about mental health and all the problems. Gosh, just get rid of the freedom then. And then everyone will know where they're at. They're in communist China. They're in some Russian matrix. And then nobody will be upset. Everyone will just flat out know. It is what it is. Now. The end.